Number 15 is Eden of the East. Eden of the East is probably the most complicated anime I've seen, in that you never really understand what's happening, and yet you still enjoy watching it. I really enjoyed watching these characters as they tried to figure out the controversial events that is happening in their country. This goes especially for the main character, Akira, who is a very enjoyable guy who gives us a Bron legacy sort of feeling to him. Even though he wakes up at the beginning of the show with no memory, he is still bright with energy while trying to figure out his past. The animation in this show is beautiful, ripe with amazing visuals and colorful images. The dub is also not that bad, with Jason giving an amazing performance as Akira. There are also 2 movies that follow the series, the first called King of Eden and the second called Paradise Lost. While the first one feels like just a setup for the second one finishes the franchise with an amazing finale. It's the show that asked you what you would do if someone gave you money and told you to change the country. Number 14 is Paranoia Agent. It's kinda hard to describe how creepy and yet amazing this show is. It follows these people who are on the verge of insanity when they are attacked by Mr. Creepy himself, Little Slugger. This character is so creepy, he may give Slenderman a run for his money. But then again, maybe not. Anyway, the plot for this show is ever-changing, making you think one thing, only to point you in another direction later on. It's a story that makes you think a little bit, and could even be used for scientists to study the psychological insanity of the human mind. The director and writer for the show, Satoshi Kon, is known for making amazing shows, except for the fact that the shows he makes are insane. The animation is decent, and does successfully give off the show's dark and creepy themes. The dub is nothing special, but it is worth a watch. Altogether, this show is a must to watch, even with its creepy premise. And remember, if you're ever scared while watching this show, just do what Mirimi says.
Take a rest, okay? Take a rest. Take a rest. Take a rest. Take a rest. I参戦それぶりってことかいちょな気分が制服なふりってことない頑張っちゃやっちゃったそんときゃちゃんリリースよあって谷間に大大
Number 13 is Lucky Star. Though I may call Lucky Star my guilty pleasure, I found it surprisingly enjoyable. A warning though. All men beware. This is a girl's anime. That aside, this anime is reference heavy, so newbies to anime won't get most of the jokes. Most of the references come from the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, since Kyoto Animation made both of the shows. So I would recommend watching that first like I did. Speaking of which, Kyoto Animation is known for great animation in their shows. They make these girls look cute and lovable for all those kawaii fans out there. The dub is a give or take, while most of the voice actors do a good job. There are a select few that will make you want to watch the sub instead. Looking at you, Patricia. You and your stupid, high-pitched, annoying voice makes me. Lastly, my favorite part of the show was the segment at the end of each episode, Lucky Channel. I laughed the most during this segment, mostly due to Stephanie and Seth's surprisingly good performance as Akira. Lucky Star may be slow in the beginning, but as it progresses, you'll find that you love it without even knowing it. Number 12 is Black Butler. The thing I liked most about Black Butler is how dark it was. There are a lot of dark themes, and it even gets a little religious towards the end. It's an engaging story about 12-year-old Ciel trying to get revenge on the people who killed his parents, with the help of his demon butler, Sebastian. And cue the fangirls. Enough of that. It's interesting to see a Japanese anime take place in 19th century England. It allows stories like Jack the Ripper to come to life. I also enjoyed most of the characters, and without spoiling anything, the villain in this show is one of my all-time favorite anime villains. The show is from Studio Bones, which means the animation is perfect. The second season, Black Butler 2, though it may have a good ending, wasn't as good as the first series. Speaking of which, Black Butler has a very amazing ending that left me satisfied, and kinda wishing that Black Butler 2 never existed. But anyway, Black Butler is a show that shows you what happens when you make a deal with a demon.
I was so happy
Number 11 is Fruits Basket. Fruits Basket is a tearjerker. I'm just gonna put it out there. You will cry at one point during the show, even if it's inside. Anyway, Fruits Basket is a very old anime that has gained many fans as the years went on. It's definitely the most family-friendly anime I've seen. There's no real fan service, no deep swearing, and it's very cute and bubbly.
A little while, we change back. The only thing is, we're naked.
That is, except for the last 2 episodes. Without spoiling anything, let's just say that these 2 are very, very dark. The story is easy to follow and doesn't get too complex. The characters are almost all lovable and memorable. The main character, Toru, is a nice and very loyal girl, which is typical for a shoujo heroine. With each member of the family being connected to an animal in the zodiac, it's fun to see the personality of the animal being displayed in the character. It's what brings the story to life. The animation is your typical anime animation, as well as the music. Lastly, if you watch the show, you have to watch the sub. It's not like the dub is absolutely horrible, but it was one of Funimation's early dubbing attempts, and it definitely shows with a couple of the voices. Altogether, Fruits Basket is a very friendly show that can get surprisingly dark at some times, but it's definitely worth the watch to see an old classic anime.